Thanks for listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. The octave will go even up further. Now joined by the boss, Saul Bookman. Hello, Saul Bookman. How are you doing?
Good. Fantastic. It's a beautiful day.
What do you have in that red cup?
I can't share the secrets. No, it's just water.
It's just water? Would you tell me if it was something else?
It's just water. You can see it's just water.
Oh, it looks good. I mean, yeah.
Sharing vodka. I know that.
Oh, I was going to say, dude, did you get that red Solo cup from Circle K, though?
I did not.
All right, fine. Now, we've got a lot to get to this show. We are going to talk my all Big 12 ballot, some of the Arizona players, strengths of Arizona going into the Big 12 with basketball and football. We are also going to talk a little bit about Danny Hurley, UCONN, and what this means for college sports entirely. I want to lead with that first, Saul. Okay. I think with college athletics, there's this thing with college athletics where everyone's like, oh, the NBA is clearly better. You're always going to do that. And I thought it was so odd when people were like, well, it's a foregone conclusion. He's going to leave UConn to go to LA. Sometimes money can't buy happiness. And going to LA is something that's not for everybody. And I don't even really believe that Danny Hurley took this job super seriously. What say you, Saul Bookman?
I would agree. I think he listened to him. He heard him out. The fact that he took a meeting was probably the most alarming thing for UConn fans and college basketball fans. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that he's going back to UConn. Like, again, I will say this. It used to be more stable to stay in college.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can necessarily say that anymore, but in Dan Hurley's case, because he's won back-to-back national championships in such a quick amount of time at UConn, you would assume that he's safe for at least the next half decade, just solely off of that. So it is more stable for him. And you're right, man. In today's day and age, man, like coaches don't get a lot of time to turn things around.
Right.
So, in the NBA, you might be lucky. If everything goes wrong that first year, you might be lucky if you get a second year. But most times, even nowadays, that's just not the case. You get one and done, and then they move on to the next person. So if you can't turn it around quickly, they're on to the next one.
And it's not, again, I get that it's not for everybody, but Mike Krzyzewski, I thought, made a really good point one time. He was asked, because keep in mind, he turned down the Lakers at a much higher position because he was looking at possibly coaching a prime Kobe Bryant at age 31 for the next, or 29 for the next 3 or 4 years. He said it was the best decision that he ever made not going. And he said it wasn't a slight to the Lakers, but he said, in college, I felt that I could have my own legacy. And he said, I know that might sound a little bit, a little bit pretentious, whatever the case may be. But I look at Billy Donovan, for example. Billy Donovan, and again, he's clearly not itching to get back into college, but Billy Donovan could have gone down as one of the handful of best college basketball coaches ever. He's kind of a mediocre NBA coach. Now, again, he probably likes his life more, but there's a lot to be said, though, I think, for staying in college. I like this, and I hope we see more of this, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think there's pros and cons to both sides now. I think college athletics has quickly started to mirror what professional sports has been as well. I mean, you look at Tommy Lloyd in that first year, you're still going to have people, even though they got to the Sweet 16, they get bounced in the Sweet 16 in his very first season, and nobody thought that they were going to be as good as they were.
Right.
Already calling for his head. Like,
right.
What are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? It's just such a volatile job right now to be a head coach. I will say this, I've been alive for 44 years, Mike. I can't remember a time where I've thought, man, I definitely am glad I'm not a coach.
Yes.
Because I used to want to be a coach for so long. And I look at it now and I'm like, man, that is just an impossible task. It's an impossible task.
Well, and when you go off to the NBA too, and again, we're going to get the U of A here in just a second. Look at the Lakers situation here. And this is why I never thought he was really going to take the job, because you've got a loaded Western Conference right now. You've got a guy in LeBron James who still is awesome, but he's also almost 40 years old. He's pushed out a lot of different coaches through his time there. If you're Danny Hurley, you're like, all right, I can basically choose my own spot if I ever want to go to the NBA. I just don't know that that's the spot. And I don't know that the Lakers, you tell me if I'm wrong, because you're an NBA guy, I don't know that the Lakers right now, the way they're presently constructed, has the cachet that it did 15 years ago.
I mean, the Lakers will always have cachet. I mean, that's the name brand by itself. Like it's the Lakers. But I will say this: I agree with you in terms of their outlook here in the short term future. Like, if you go to the Lakers this year, you're not winning anything.
Right.
As much as I think LeBron is great and AD is great, like they're not set up to win multiple championships or have a nice long run. And so how do you get those replacement pieces in? There's too much stuff that you can't control when it comes to that as a head coach in the NBA, as opposed to in the college game where you were the one doing the recruiting and your assistants are doing the recruiting and you have the ultimate yes or no. So it's complex. I'm not surprised that he ended up staying. I think he's a faithful East Coast guy, and that's where he wants to stay. I think they're going to make it work for him no matter what. He's going to get his money no matter what. But I think he made the right choice, to be honest with you. I think it's perfect to go back to UConn.
And I dovetail this with Tommy Lloyd. A guy that's very close with Tommy Lloyd made a very good, I thought, an interesting point about Tommy Lloyd. I think a lot of times in this day and age, everyone's just about the money. And again, I got no problem. It's like with Josan Seinon. I have no problem with the kid going to the highest bidder. We talked about it before that, you got to do what's best for you from a business perspective. But Tommy Lloyd also is more, and this guy told me, he said he likes Tucson. He says, I don't think that he would like coaching in Chapel Hill or Lexington as much. Sure, it's a richer brand. I get all of that. But he also can't just go to the bar down the street and be able to get a drink. People are just wired differently, Saul. And again, that's not making it right. That's not making it wrong. But I think a lot of times people just go with the generic, well, you got to take the money. And that's not always the case.
It's not always the case, especially when you're talking about, job security. Any NBA job is a very, very hostile prospect. Right. Like you might get 1 year, you might get 5. Who knows? It's entirely dependent on how good your team is. And sometimes that's out of your control. So I totally agree with you, Mike. Like it's not always about the money. I will say this I'll say this right now. I have no problem. When I left Bally Sports, Arizona, to take this job, I took a significant pay cut. But the position that I'm in over here, I felt like, it was more ideal for what I wanted to do. And it was kind of like a dream job. And so, it's not always about the money. And yeah, it'd have been great to have that salary now, but like the things that we're building here and the people that I get to meet with and the influence that I get to have here is like second to none. So why would that's worth what I sacrificed for sure.
I'm going to second that one as well. I also took a pay cut, and I'll tell you what, there's not been a day that I've regretted doing it because, again, at the end of the day, I get to do what I like, and I get to do it with a smile on my face. Again, money can't buy happiness. I keep going back to this, and again, it's really look at this. My favorite actor, comedian of all time is Robin Williams. You look at Robin Williams from a distance, and you're like, funny, good looking dude, rich, all of that. But he was battling demons that none of that money could really go through. Again, I'm going off on a tangent here, but again, it's just something that I'm just happy Danny Hurley did it. How about that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 1,000,000%. And yes, Kobe, you are right. Bally Sports Arizona doesn't even exist anymore. So ultimately I made the right call. Yes, I did. But initially I did not know that was going to happen.
There's a reason you're a leader of men, Saul Bookman, and you led men.
We had feelings, but you didn't know.
There were some indications.
Yes. So we've got all kinds of really good stuff right there. All right. Now let's talk a little bit about the all Big 12 team. My ballot, Saul Bookman. Very, very excited about my ballot. Now, again, I am not going to release the entire ballot, but I am excited about it. Saul, guess what? I have 6 Arizona players on the first team.
On the first team?
Yes, I do. I have 6 players.
Tell me who.
All right. Noah Fafita.
Okay. T-Mac.
Tetaroa McMillan.
Of course.
Jonah Sabanea.
Okay.
Takario Davis.
Okay.
Jacob Manu.
Okay.
And as my nickelback, I piggybacked off this with your good buddy Justin Spears, and I went trading Stooks. 6, boom, got it. 6.
Okay.
It's not insane.
It's not insane. Again, like I don't think that's very Homer of you to do that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That's why I put 6 of the 22 team players on there. Now, I do have ASU last, but I wanted to give Dilly the coach of the year. I couldn't do that though. But overall, though, Saul, I think that's a pretty good for 25% of the team, a little bit more, and none of them are outlandish.
I mean, okay. I want to see the whole squad though.
Right. Oh, the whole squad, that will be unveiled for you on Thursday, my friend, because it is being submitted today. I will even have a graphic made up for this. That's how excited I am. Brad Alice, do you like my picks?
I think they are good picks. I don't think they're realistic because you have 16 teams to draw from. I think it's going to be very hard unless you just run away with the league to get 6 guys on. And I would say Stooks is probably the easiest odd man out.
I agree with that. But Noah Fafita?
I think Fafita's right there. Yeah. There's maybe 2 other quarterbacks in the league who should be competing with Fafita.
T-Mac?
T-Mac, income in. Yeah.
T-Mac's a lock. Jacob Manu, lock. Takario Davis?
I don't think they're locks. Are they locks to make a Big 12 team? Yeah. But again, you have 16 teams. You have a whole new group of beat writers. It could be a little more difficult than getting 5 guys on a 12 team, 22 or whatever it is, 24-man team.
Saul, are you picking Arizona to win the conference? Do it.
That's tough. That's a tough one. Man, my only hesitancy is that I have to see it. It's hard for me. If I will say this, if Jed Fish were still here and we knew what that was going into this season, then yes, I probably would, because I liked what I saw last year going into this season. And this is no slight to Coach Brennan whatsoever. I think he's going to do an amazing job. I just don't know what this is going to look like. And sometimes, even though the coach might be ideal, maybe the system that they're running and the variations of it with the personnel that they have just doesn't quite line up, and it might take a little bit to shake out, or it could be a home run right off the bat. I don't know. So that's the only hesitancy I have. But right. I do think it comes down to them, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, and Kansas State.
Kansas State, exactly. All right.
I think Kansas is going to fall off this year.
Oh, by the way, Kansas, Leopold's a really, really good coach, but I agree with you. It feels like a little bit of a smoke and mirrors thing. Now, a lot of people.
Yeah, I disagree. And I watched a lot of Kansas football.
You are from Kansas, Brett.
You're the one guy. Good job, buddy.
Somehow I saw them and TCU play every week last year.
Oh man, that's
they get their quarterback.
Who's
back.
Your cable provider? They need to be fired.
It's DirecTV. There's that sweet spot window between youth volleyball and baseball games on a Saturday afternoon, and it was either that or the Big Ten. Do I need to see Indiana get routed again? No, I do not. So I watched Kansas play some ridiculous 55-45 game. They get their starting quarterback back. They played last year with a kid named Jason Bean, who was good, who was entertaining, who threw really bad picks. I think Leopold's really good. Do I think they're going to win it? No, but I think they're a pretty darn good football team. And I would also say it's hard to count Utah out. I mean, they have a 37-year-old quarterback who apparently was drafted the same year as Kirk Cousins. But we know what they are. Then they're always going to be tough. So I think there are realistically 5 or 6 teams who could win the league, and that's why it's going to be fun.
Yes, Erica L. Day, always getting in good stuff. I think X needs to get in here Twitter count. All right, now, T. Burns, I actually lied, guys. If we're going with the special teams, I do have Tyler Loop as well on my special teams kicker. So I have 7. Now, I will tell you this, in all fairness, I did tell the Big 12 people, I said, listen, this is going to be a heavily skewed ballot. And they said, go ahead and do what you think, man. So I'm back in the A, man. I make no apologies about it.
I did not do a ballot because I got the email to do it, and I was just like, I can't do it because that requires a lot of research to make sure that you're not snubbing anybody that's worthy just because you want to, hype up the U of A or a kid. So I was like, I don't want that kind of responsibility, so I'm not going to vote because that's just not ideal. So
Well, Saul, you have to take care of people like myself and Jacob Franklin anyway, so you already have a lot of responsibilities.
it's all good. Also, I did want to answer Big 12 Bobby earlier in the chat. It asked which pod of ours gets the most listeners, and I will say it's basically a toss-up between Suns and Cardinals, and then right behind them is Arizona Wildcats podcast.
By the way, we got to give a big shout out to the Cardinals, by the way. The way that this thing, and again, I know that we're not supposed to get off topic here. We will get off topic for just a second. The Suns has carried this thing. It is a juggernaut. Anybody that tunes into the Suns, you know how good this show is. That's the one-stop shop. It really is. I mean, seriously. But man, the Cardinals and the ground that they have made up in a year is honestly, Saul, it's astounding. You know, I mean, you've got a crack staff there.
There's a lot of people out here, especially in the Tucson area, that are not big Cardinals fans, because I think the Cardinals kind of did a terrible job, like embracing the whole state when they first got here. They named themselves the Phoenix Cardinals, and that kind of alienated everybody else. And now they're the Arizona Cardinals. They're trying to rectify it, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But I will say this: if you don't have a team, you should root for the Arizona Cardinals, mostly because Johnny and Bo do such a phenomenal job of covering that team, and they make it fun. They just do. It's a great listen. I listen to it every day when I drive home, and that's pretty rare. So.
You know what else is really good about them too? You can tell. I watched that Gannon interview. You can tell that he likes those guys.
Oh yeah. He loves those guys.
He loves them.
He loves them.
them.
Oh yeah. We are in with JG. He is the homie.
I have seen many interviews. I've been part of interviews where a coach is looking at me like, I don't want to be around this dweeb. Let's get this guy out of here.
Can we get Tommy Lloyd on this show?
That would be amazing. I would very much like. We got Murph coming up next month. I would love to get Tommy Lloyd on there. So we will try to make that work. Also, by the way, one thing that we can also agree on as well, guess who might go to Circle K more than we do, Saul Bookman?
What? Say that again? Sorry.
Guess who might go to Circle K more than we do?
Brad
Allis. Brad Allis is there many times, multiple times a day. Make the case, Brad Allis. Tell him the family-friendly man that you are.
Saul's probably familiar with this, but it's Little League All-Star season, and we're playing juniors, which means we're practicing 5 days a week.
Oh, my God, dude.
And guess who has to buy ice? And guess who has to buy water and Gatorades? This guy. So as the Flowing Wells Juniors team, who is the #1 seed, by the way, in the tournament in 2 weeks.
Nice.
Hopefully we'll be playing up in Goodyear in July. I don't want to be in Goodyear in July for anything other than baseball. But yes, we're at Circle K frequently because you got to get the Gatorade, you got to get the water, you got to get the ice, sometimes a protein bar, heck, sometimes a Polar Pop just to cool down.
Yeah. By the way, also, and Brad Allis is part of the inner circle, just like Saul Bookman and myself. This is true.
Yes,
this
absolutely.
is true. I mean, it's my wife's phone number I use, but yes, we're in the inner circle because she drinks more Polar Pops than anyone on this face of this planet.
That's what we like. Join the inner circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. You guys want to hear something else that's there that I have on very good authority, Saul Bookman and Brad Allis? My inner circle hat is supposed to arrive Friday. There's only one other hat I would ever wear on this show, and it's the inner circle hat. I am excited about this inner circle hat. I cannot wait for this inner circle hat.
I'm still disappointed in Max Simpson for not being able to cash us all some inner circle hats. It's pretty pretty depressing. Apparently he's too busy doing other things.
I will reach out to my source and see if he could maybe spread the love a little bit.
Man.
We'll see what I can do. Well, the connections that I have are just astounding at all levels. I mean, let's be honest, the inner circle hat. All right. Now, I wanted to ask you guys about this. Arizona football and basketball. We talked a little bit about some of our concerns going into the Big 12 this year. And, some of it, obviously, rowdy fan bases, you don't know exactly what to expect with some of the roster. But I look at this, though, man, and I look at the strengths of Arizona football and Arizona basketball, and there's a lot to really like about this, especially, too, Big 12 football is about scoring. There is no reason whatsoever, Brad and Saul, that Arizona should not put a lot of points on the board. I think they're uniquely equipped this year to go into the Big 12.
Yeah, no, I think offensively they're very good. I think you also enter a situation where there's no big dog.
Right.
And I don't mean Brody Dryden.
The big dog.
The closest thing to perennial winners in the Big 12 for football is Utah and Oklahoma State, who are kind of like 8.5 win programs.
Yeah.
You're not inheriting Texas and Oklahoma. You are leaving behind USC and Oregon. So I think you can come in, and if Brennan can strike fast, and they have to be probably 8 to 9 wins minimum this year, you can cement yourself, because there's a whole new legacy to be built in this entire league. Yes, Oklahoma State's always going to be relevant, but Waco, in Waco, Baylor, it depends on the coach. Kansas definitely depends on the coach. Cincinnati was in the playoff, 4 years ago? They're picked 16th by people.
Right.
It's a league where I think you're going to see a lot of turnover up and down. You're never going to have consistency. But I think if Arizona can carve out a niche in Brennan, because I think he is here for the long haul, if he can win, then you're going to see Arizona be in a very good position. Conversely, if they can't, if Brennan scuffles the first couple years, then you might dig yourself a hole. So I think these are some very important seasons coming up for Arizona football, whereas ironically enough, Arizona basketball could scuffle a little because they're not used to playing, 9 of 12 games being tough, but they're fine because there's a brand there. There isn't really a brand with Arizona football, but there could be. We could wake up 3 years from now and Arizona's considered right there with all those other programs.
Every single one of the teams in football at one point or another has had a flash, right? Where they've been competitive. Maybe they've been close to the CFP, if not gotten to the CFP. You're talking about, he mentioned Cincinnati, but obviously TCU was another one of those. Baylor's come so close so many times. It's ridiculous. And then you even look at a program like UCF, who, they went undefeated and claimed themselves as the national champions. So like everybody's had a little bit of a flash here and there in the course of the last maybe 15 years. And so it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to cement themselves as like the top dog in the conference. And that's going to boil down to consistency. And so if I'm looking across the board right now at this conference and I'm like, okay, who could I see in 5 to 10 years being like, kind of the bell cow, teams or programs of the conference? You're looking at like the Kansas States, the Oklahoma States, Iowa State, maybe not. They've kind of been a little too up and down as well. But those are the two teams that have been the most consistent in the last decade and a half, and that's who you would look at. And so if Arizona wants to be like them and they have the opportunity to, Brennan's going to be the major player. And then in basketball, I agree with you in terms of basketball. I think it's definitely Kansas is kind of, that's the program in the Big 12. We can't deny that. They've had multiple national championships in the last decade. So, but right behind them is a slew of teams that is on that like high second tier, including Arizona. And Arizona, out of those teams, has the better national brand than Houston, than Baylor, than Iowa State, than those teams. So I like where Arizona sits across the board, and they have a tremendous opportunity this year to consummate themselves as an elite program.
Do you guys want to hear a great trivia question that might only interest me, but I'm going to still put it out there? There's only been one football program in the last 20 years to have 3 different coaches have top 11 finishes. Can you name that team, that program?
Is it in the Big 12?
Mm-hmm. Certainly is.
3 different coaches.
I'm very excited.
That takes out Kansas State.
Mm-hmm. Not Kansas State.
It's not Baylor.
It is Baylor.
It is Baylor.
Art Briles, Matt Rule, and Dave Aranda, Matt friend.
Rule. I forgot about Matt Rule. Damn it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying Baylor right there. I mean, that just goes to show you 2 schools that you sleep on. You don't even think a ton about Baylor. So that is a very good thing.
Baylor's weird because, again, they've had recent success, but they are feast or famine. I mean, that is a program that one thing goes wrong. And again, I think you can say that about a lot of programs. Unfortunately, Arizona is one of them, that you can be a 3-win program.
Right.
I mean, how many programs have had a Heisman Trophy winner? And then 3 years later had 2 wins. I mean, it's a crazy thing, but that to me is also the thing you look about basketball. And I think, obviously Saul makes the point that is a good point, and it's the obvious point. Kansas is the top dog in the Big 12, and Kansas is the top dog among all but 3 other programs in the country.
Yeah.
Arizona's the only one though that has proven, at least, and again, if I'm forgetting but that can do it coach to coach to coach. Much
Arizona's a 3-coach school at this point.
Yes. Now, granted, they haven't gotten to the Final Four under their last 2 coaches, but they have won conference championships. They have gotten 1 and 2 seeds. can Baylor win without Drew? I don't see them as a national brand. Ironically, Houston has had, did they really have success under Tom Pender? It's basically Phi Slamma Jamma and now Kelvin Sampson.
Yeah.
Cincinnati is a good program, but they haven't done anything since Huggins left of great note. The closest thing, ironically enough, might be Iowa State.
Yeah.
But they haven't had the tournament success. They've gotten the regular season. What have they been? It seems like they're always a 1, 2, or 3 seed, and then they're always out in the first weekend. So
they've gotten close. They've been as close to what Arizona has been, getting to Elite Eights, coming close. Like you think about that Marcus Pfizer led squad.
The point guard? You remember the point guard on that team?
Jamal Tinsley.
Yes.
Yeah. Backup point guard deep on the bench. Arizona's own Thomas Watkins, who went to MCC, and I played against him.
Interesting.
So he, so that program has had some really, really good teams, but they just have never been able to get over the hump and get to the Final Four, like Brad said.
Right.
And again, I should know better because my wife is from Iowa and kind of roots for them all, although she's mostly a Hawkeye fan. But they always seem to underachieve. Or just running into a buzzsaw. Like I can remember Sweet 16 and they're the 4 seed and they're playing number 1 Kentucky. But again, you look at it, there's a lot of very good programs, but few have been able to maintain their national relevance coach to coach, decade to decade.
Let's talk about that in a second. I want to talk about that. And we're going to get to a little Koa Peat stuff because I have a little bit of information on Koa Peat that I feel like sharing. Stromile Swift. LSU, though, Gringo Billy. Come on.
LSU.
Yep. All right. Now, but first, we need to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, and that's OGs. Listen, the best man, the boss, Saul Bookman, does the best OGs reads ever. I throw away everything when Saul Bookman is on the show because he does this off the top of the head. You want to watch goats in action? Watch this right here, Saul Bookman.
You're setting me up for failure. Listen, you don't need there's one thing about life that I really appreciate. And I appreciate enthusiasm. I appreciate very good flavors too. Listen, one of the things that OGs is not is a bad handshake. And unfortunately, one of our own gave me the very best example of a really, really bad handshake last week. And OGs is the opposite of a bad handshake. They will make you feel good. What's that?
Who gave you the bad handshake?
I can't put them on blast, but they host our Mercury show. Anyway, OGs, the goated handshake of the edible world. You can enjoy OGs by going to ogsbrands.com. Check them out. They're fantastic. Find the closest dispensary to you. They will take care of you. They got the RSOs, they got the indicas. You might need some sativas after bad handshake, but OG's got you covered no matter what. So check them out, ogsbrands.com. Remember, you must be over the age of 21 to enjoy and enjoy responsibly.
There is nothing, joking aside, there is nothing more uncomfortable than somebody that gives you the flimsy. I have a dentist. My dentist listens to the show, so don't rip eight teeth out of my mouth next time I see you. But we joke around. He has the worst handshake in the world, and it's to the point now where I tell him, I say, I will squeeze your hand as hard as possible.
Say the flimsy?
What made this handshake? I'm still on this. What made this handshake so bad?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You got to set the
first
scene.
Of all right. Ready? All
Erica,
right. So
sorry.
I'm meeting everybody out there for the first time. This is how I'm going to extend my hand to do a handshake, right? You're just, hey, hands out there. You never close the fingers, right? You never have closed fingers when you go there. Who does that? Who does that? Straight up, fingers out. I think the thumb was a little off. Like, what is this? What is this? And because of this is a little science on the handshake here. Because of the closed fingers, there's no airflow in between the fingers, and it gets a little sweaty there, a little cold, a little clammy. Like, what are we doing here?
Erica.
What are we doing?
And Erica's not a wilting violet. That's what's so interesting about all of
never said it was
chat,
Erica.
She said she was nervous.
She
outed herself.
She outed herself, Saul Bookman, not you.
Okay.
But yeah, you need finger spread so you can kind of grasp. I mean, you got to grasp. You got to shake the hand. Eye contact, firm.
You got to go indent to indent. Let's go. Like,
but you don't crush because unless you don't like the guy, you got to be firm, but without being an a-hole.
What do
Yeah.
you do? What does somebody like Shaquille O'Neal do then, where you consume the hand?
He just
Yeah, you
consumes
just-
your hand. It's
yeah.
like have you ever played with a kitten or like a small child? And he just does that.
Yeah.
But his hand's so big, even his gently grasping my pathetic little baby hands, he would still give me a good crush. Yeah.
Yeah.
Saul
Yeah,
Bookman, this is
You just
great.
you grip it and rip it.
Saul Bookman, this is something that the boss should come up with, or the creative content. Greg Esposito. This is actually a really good one. A PHNX handshake.
Maybe we will have one.
That is really, really good. Along with
know that Erica and I have to work on this because I can't do this anymore. I will not be subjected to that kind of.
Yeah, I agree with you. That some things are just awful. So between Erica
next time, I'm just gonna be like, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
Good
between Erica all day, always messaging me about that she can't find a bathroom up in Phoenix, and her bad handshakes. We have a lot of questions about Erica all day right now. Okay, now let's talk.
Hey, I will say this about Erica: she is the most popular person in the arena when we go to these Mercury games. Like, everybody loves her. Everybody that wants the scoop or the down low on players or whatever, Erica's the first person they ask. She has become the go-to source for all Mercury things, and I couldn't be more prouder of her.
Erica is very, very good. The great Erica Elday.
I mean, we all have a flaw. Mike's is his singing voice.
It's very good.
And the laugh. And well, Mike may have more flaws, but some people have handshakes,
A lot more flaws.
Yeah, Did
I ever tell you my old boss asked me to change my laugh?
Does it surprise me?
No.
You have.
Told him, he asked
You've
me,
mentioned
he's like, I didn't realize that you really laughed like that. And I said, And then
Your old boss also wanted to fire someone because he didn't like Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah. Well, either way, I just did not. I told him I cannot change my laugh, nor will I ever change my laugh. That is not going to be. That's non-negotiable. Koa Peat. Let's talk Koa Peat. What a transition from me being asked to change my laugh to Koa Peat. Koa Peat is going to be at the University of Arizona this Thursday. Arizona is one of his final 10 schools. Exactly. What is great about Koa Peat is that he's a one and done type. Obviously, he's a big name in the Valley, and he can go anywhere. In Arizona history, there's not a ton of homegrown dudes. Saul Bookman can attest to this, as can Brad Allis. There's not a lot of homegrown dudes like your Mike Bibbies, your Richard Jeffersons, your Marvin Bagleys that are born, raised here, that can go wherever. Koa Peat is the epitome of that. If Arizona were able to get Koa Peat, that's one thing that you could not minimize whatsoever. He will be on campus. We'll see how it plays out.
Koa Peat is the biggest name prospect Arizona bred and born in probably the last 2 decades, maybe since Bayless.
Maybe since Bayless. I mean, it would have been Bagley, but Bagley bounced.
Yeah, so that doesn't count. Yeah,
and Ayton doesn't count because he came in.
Yeah, he came in, so it wasn't.
Bagley's freshman year was insane.
Yeah, it was.
It was crazy.
But he left, and so he wasn't really considered Arizona born and bred anymore. So
is it since Jared Bayless? I think it is.
I think it's Jared Bayless.
Nick Johnson.
No, but he left. He was in Finley.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about
Finley.
that.
Yeah, so Koa Peat, listen, man, Koa Peat, getting Koa Peat at Arizona is just another feather in the cap of the brand of Arizona and dominating the state with elite talent. That's what we've done basically the entire time of my lifetime, and they'll continue to do so. And if they get Koa Peat somehow, some way, man, that's a fantastic get. And hey, listen, that kid is really, really good, strong, big, athletic,
ready to play immediately.
Yeah.
But Mike, answer me this, and maybe Saul, you can too. And I've only seen video of Koa Peat. Is he big enough to be one and done as a power forward? I mean,
in college, he is, because he's super athletic.
But he's 6'8". What is he? 6'8", 230, 235?
That's plenty fine for the NBA.
215.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, by the time he leaves college, he'd probably be about 230.
Right.
And just built like a brick.
Because again, it seems like every power forward in the NBA now is 6'10". So just wondering if you run into that where maybe you're not quite big enough, or is he athletic enough to be a combo forward?
But I think he's also going to be one of those guys that he might not have necessarily the, an all NBA upside, but he's going to be, worst case scenario, he's going to be a rotation player for 12 to 15 years. I mean,
someone's grabbing him at 17 because
he's also going to be the player though that steps in there And he's going to be ready to contribute immediately.
Mhm.
And that you need players like that in the Big 12. We've talked about it before. Your Tunde Yesifus, who we're going to have some information on him coming up very shortly as well, maybe on Friday, wink, wink. But with Koa Peat, he's perfect for what you want in the Big 12. Absolutely perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And a one and done. By the way, Gilbert Perry, we got to give Gilbert Perry some credit for what they've produced in the last 4 years or the last 5 years. Jalen Williams, obviously doing his thing in the NBA. Very, very good. My guy, Dylan Anderson, up in Boise State. Cody Williams, going to be a top 15 pick. Koa Peat, I can't even think in my time, and maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I can't think of a run in about a 6-year period where he had 4 players like that.
Not that good. I mean, obviously, the closest thing there was maybe St. Mary's, but that's a private school. Who had 4 D1 players in about an 8 or 9 year span.
But these are NBA guys.
Yeah,
and two of them were.
Yeah. So
I think Fry and Bayless, and then you had the Lopez boys
and the Fontenelle.
Yeah. So,
I can't think of again, and that was a private school. So you're recruiting.
Yeah.
Obviously you had who was it? Deer Valley had a bunch of D1 guys, but
Joey Shaw, Lawrence Hill, and Christian Polk.
But only Hill even sniffed the NBA in for an hour and a half.
Maybe Corona. Corona might have had it. If you include Marvin Bagley, then you got Marvin Bagley, you got Saban Lee
and Barcelo,
and then Barcelo.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So that's probably as close as you're going to get.
That's a really good one. I think that's the closest one that you're going to get. By the way, maybe the most underrated player in Arizona high school history, Lamont Long, also from Tempe, Corona.
The most underrated. I've never seen a better player in the state of Arizona outside of Mike Bibby than Lamont Long. And I had to play against him 4 fucking times, and I did not like any of my experiences against him. And again, talk about a guy that, and that's he averaged 46 points a game against us. Wow. And it's unfortunate too for guys like that because this was before he would have been a national recruit at this stage. Had he come around now, he would have been a 1,000%. You don't think so? No, he could have been. He played right alongside Mike Bibby, but people just didn't believe in his game in terms of the all around game. He milked the hell out of one move, and it was a ridiculous hop stop. And with his athleticism to be able to use that hop stop and then explode at the rim, or pump fake, and then explode, it was just an unstoppable move. You couldn't do anything against it. So he just used that bank shot to death. But he wasn't the greatest perimeter shooter, wasn't the greatest 3-point shooter, wasn't the greatest ball handler. And I think that's what the limitations appeared to be from college coaches. So they just kind of passed on. If he went to U of A, when he first graduated from Corona, I have no doubt that he would have contributed on that national championship team and then some, because he was that awesome. That was my first recruiting foray, by the way, was that AAU team they the Arizona Stars with Bibby and him, Green, Deion Broom sitting on the bench. Deion Broom, who was the Wheaton, the DB who ended up playing football, I think, or was Kenny Wheaton? Deion Broom and I almost played together at Westwood because I almost transferred from Marcos to play with him, and then I didn't. And then I found he left U of A because he did go to U of A on a full ride, went down to U of A, and then he left about halfway through the year because he wouldn't get in shape. Right. He wouldn't get in shape, and Lou was like, "Dude, I'm not playing you until you get in shape." So he ended up going to Yavapai, and then after there were great issues as well with poor Deion Broom. Yeah, it was just an overall lack of effort. Yeah. Koa Peat. But also I'm trying to think in that who was the guy up from Page, Arizona? Oh, Harry Ass. Harry Ass was really good, but he was 2003, right? Yeah. So great story of Matt Harriers. Matt Harriers was legit. He ended up Vegas Davis. My bad. Yeah, Vegas Davis as well. Vegas Davis from Parker, Arizona. He was the first Arizona player to spurn loot. Went to Tennessee, did nothing. Matt Harriers, U of A loved him, but just couldn't justify bringing in a big guy. And then, of course, what happens? A couple guys transfer out. Isaiah Fox eats too much. And suddenly Arizona's playing with undersized power forwards and could have had Matt Harriers, who, again, did fine. He went to Stanford. But Arizona loved him, and that's where I really started one of my recruiting mantras. You can never have too many bigs. You can never have too many linemen, and you can never have too many arms in baseball.
Koa Peat, though, we will keep you up to date on this one. This is going to be very, very good.
Mike,
yes, Nico could have gone anywhere, but I never bought Nico. I never understood the hype with Nico. I watched Nico a lot. I never understood it. I thought he was good. I never thought he was great. What say you guys?
Yeah, I agree. Also, Vegas Davis is like a world-renowned fitness guy, like not bodybuilder, but like he does competition,
CrossFit, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we have some breaking news. We are dropping a huge shirt collection today, and it is right here. It is the Valley collection. You should probably grab yours today. And ignore the fact that it says the Valley. Listen, folks, like this is statewide. Okay. We love our teams. And we wanted to make some shirts that were just kind of like, vibey. So we got the first ever tank tops in PHNX history now that we're offering. The taco truck shirt, which is just an iconic, obviously a staple of Arizona. And then the Year of the Snake shirt, which is kind of a Diamondback themed shirt, obviously. And then with our good friends at State 48, we got a little collection of all the teams on that shirt as well, than our PHNX branded shirt. So get yours now. They're fantastic. They're comfortable. You can't miss out.
Very good stuff.
And if you become a diehard, you can get one of those shirts for free.
Become a diehard, my friends. Also, another thing that we need to talk about as well. Say you're watching the NBA Finals and you're like, you know what? I wish I knew a place that I could bet on these games. And you're saying to yourself, I have no place. Well, you've obviously not been listening to the show if that's actually what you're thinking upstairs. But if you're new here, the BetMGM Sportsbook app, my friends, all kinds of good stuff. Sign up for BetMGM. Use bonus code PHNX. Place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the BetMGM Sportsbook mobile app for at least $10. You will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if the bet loses. Check out the show notes for details. Who do you guys like in Game 3? I am going Dallas.
I'm going Dallas as well, especially with Kristaps out.
What say you, William, about Dallas?
Dallas, yeah, they gotta get one in here.
All right, now let's hear Shane Diefenbach with a disclaimer.
Bets expire in 7 days. One new customer offer only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, North Carolina, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
And one other one. Guess where I went yesterday, or actually 2 days ago, and I took a picture of it to prove where I went to go eat. Illegal Pete's, my friend.
Nice.
Illegal Pete's. Got 2 very good burritos. I ate both of them. I did not go to my normal spot. I went to Illegal Pete's instead. Felt very, very good about it. Illegal Pete's is here to bring you a win with their legendary sound check deal. Bring in your ticket stub of any ticketed event and get a draft beer or house margarita for a penny. Illegal Pete's wants to celebrate with you, whether it's a pregame party, postgame party, all kinds of good stuff. They got you covered for all the game day needs. Must purchase an adult entree to redeem Illegal Pete's sound check deal, your go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer. Illegal Pete's is one of those spots. It is good in Tempe. It is good in Tucson. Whatever you want with Illegal Pete's, they have it. They have you covered. Okay, now with I want to get back to a little bit before we sign off here, a little bit of the strengths of Arizona football. There's something that I think is not that we did not necessarily touch on enough. This is a passing league. And Arizona has 4 really, really good safeties now. We're going to talk about Dwayne Aquina coming up here in a little bit, actually in the next couple shows. But you got Tacario Davis, we talked about, first-team guy. You also now have 4 safeties. 3 guys that played a ton last year. Dalton Johnson, very good. Gunnar Maldonado, my bad, Gunnar Maldonado. I was a moron. Who else? Genesis Smith from Chandler. And now you have Owen Goss. That's a lot of good stuff when you're going against high-octane offenses, fellas.
Yeah, absolutely. You need that secondary. I mentioned that on last show that I was on, was that you need as many quality pieces in the secondary in the Big 12 as you can get. The hybrid stuff, it's okay, but the spread out run and gun method of the Big 12 is pretty serious. And when you can balance that with solid running attacks, that's why you have to have a good, solid front 4 and a back end that can hold up against the attack and in the air. So I think Arizona is well suited for both.
Yeah. What say you, William?
Yeah, and I like the fact that they're just kind of stocking up on DBs. Not resting on their laurels, not hoping. You got 2 corners, you better get 3. You have 3 safeties, you better get 4. Getting guys from some big programs and some big time transfers, or getting guys who played a lot at smaller programs. And I like kind of both of that. Get some blue chippers who maybe haven't played much, or get some sleepers who are ready to elevate their game to the next level from the transfer portal. And then again, hit that recruiting hard.
And you got Dwayne Aquina coaching probably the best defensive backs coach in college football history. 3 Thorpe Award winners, 13 first-round picks. Chris McAllister was not one of his Thorpe Award winners. That's how good he is. Antoine Winfield stole that. We are not happy with Antoine Winfield. But on that note, though, Saul, let me ask you this. How many meetings do you have per day as GM of PHNX?
I'm probably about 4 or 5.
Do you count people just walking into the office? Because that happens a lot.
Yeah. I mean, probably about anywhere between 4 and 5 to 10 to 12.
Wow. All right. Well, again, that's why he's the boss. I would not know what to do. My ADHD would be all over the place. I can't really help you with any of this stuff. So anyways, Saul Bookman, very much appreciate you. William Brad Alice, very much appreciate you as well, my friend.
Sorry for coming on late. I had a meeting. I sympathize with Saul, although I'm a little lower on the totem pole in my organization.
Stop.
Yes. Saul, the best free. Oh, Brad, you know about the free throws, right?
All right, y'all. I'll see you later.
Oh, I don't think
do.
Brad knows this.
No, I'm aware of Saul's free throw supremacy records. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't know.
I'm also, again, I in about a year or two, I'm going to have to really hit Saul up because I know his son is one heck of a pitcher. And as my son continues to progress down that lane, we gotta crank out. He's now obsessed with pitching.
Saul, you still got 2 minutes. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Yeah, Alex. He actually he's all done playing baseball. He just finished up his college career about a month ago at LSU Shreveport, and so now he's trying to get onto a coaching staff. So, trying to put him in front of some people, Chip Hale, so he can get a GA spot. But we'll see if that happens.
Interesting. Jack Hale listens to the show every single day. Jack Hale, maybe.
Come on, he's a good kid. He works hard. He's a good coach. He's going to take care of you.
That's awesome. All right. On that note, though, for the boss, Saul Bookman, for the, I was going to say for one of the OGs of all OGs, the William Brad Alice, Jacob Franklin behind the scenes. I am merely Mike Luke. We will be back with you tomorrow. You've been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.